Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knick family. Welcome to the Just Knickin' It Weekly Show. I'm your host, Stephanie, a.k.a. Queen, joined by I am Jerrell, Dope Soul alumnus, 2022, Die Hard Giants Live show. No podcast, just show. Geoff Klafter from the Happily Ever Klafter Daily Sports Blog. S-Guard from, what is it, the Man Cave?
The Man Cave Podcast.
Man Cave Podcast. And Ajay, the villain, just regular Ajay.
Dope Soul Collective.
Yeah, Dope Soul Collective admin. Let's give him admin. He used to do the chat for us, but anyway, he got too big time. Latoria B, we waiting for you. I didn't see your DM, so Freezy said he was going to email you the link. So hopefully you got it and just come on whenever you can. Matter of fact, I'll just drop it in the chat. Here we go. There you go. All right. A lot to talk about today. You know, obviously this is not the mid-season, right? We're like 50 games in. Is it 50 yet?
55.
Yeah. Okay. All right. He said she got the link. Okay. I just put it in the chat. So a lot to talk about. I want to talk about the Knicks signing of Alvarado and Sohan. I want to do a review of Brunson, Bridges, you know, the starters. I want to talk about the double big lineup now that we've had an opportunity to watch the Knicks for 55 games. Do we agree or disagree with that? The fact that they're not starting, we talked about that at the beginning of the season, so we'll revisit that. We'll revisit Hart starting over Deuce, and how we're feeling about that. And then we'll talk about the bench rotation and who we'd like to see in that rotation. We got 2 new players now, only subtracted 1. We got some young guys that have been coming along. So that should be an interesting conversation as well. But let's start with Latoria B. We see your name, but the video is not there.
It's almost like the camera on her computer is covered up.
Okay.
That's
maybe
the
camera on your computer is covered up a little bit. All right. So let's talk about Alvarado and Sohan. You could take either one or both. Mm-hmm. What do they bring? How do they help? And did you like the signing? Let's start with Sohan, right? I think we talked about Alvarado a little bit. Let's start with Sohan, right? What does he bring? Does he help? Will he play? Should he play? Let's start with Sohan. Jerrell?
Salute to the chat and welcome everybody. Yeah, full disclosure, I wasn't the biggest Sohan fan coming out of Baylor. I never thought he had like a real good offensive game. He still hasn't really developed one yet in the league. I think that's part of the reason that he wasn't getting any burn with the Spurs. But when it comes to what he can do for us, he's going to be high energy, defense, versatility. He plays the power forward. He plays the small forward. He even can play the 2. I guess, you know, it's on defense that he can play different positions. On offense, you know, he can't hit the side of a barn. Like he's not a good shooter at all. He's not going to give you anything when it comes to shot creation or playmaking or anything like that. He's just pretty much a body that can, you know, will be a good versatile defender for us. Like he could be he's going to be like part of Wingstop, even though he plays the 4. He definitely plays the 3 too. He's a tweener. He's around 6'8". I don't know how much he weighs now, but long arms, athletic. Yeah, he could definitely help us with this, you know, because we are a short, non-athletic team. So when it comes to that, he'll definitely be able to help us. In terms of offense, he won't help us at all. But I don't think we need help in offense. We need.
Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
All right.
We'll welcome.
I was having a little technical
Jerrell
difficulties, but I'm here now.
We'll definitely welcome you in once Jerrell finishes his statement.
Absolutely.
Jeremy, he's just going to be a versatile defender for us. Just don't expect him to score that many points or, any terms of playmaking or anything like that. But, we can stick Jaylen Brown on him, or him on Jaylen Brown, I should say. Jason Tatum, if he comes back, Cade Cunningham. Like, we could throw players like that at him to defend. So that's what he's going to be doing for our team. And he's going to be the 15th guy. We'll use him in like spot duty when it comes to like defense late in games, hopefully. Other than that, he won't be, doing that much for us.
Okay, that was my next question, but you answered it in terms of, did you think he would
like crack the rotation?
Yeah, well, if you thought he would play, and so basically you outlined when you thought he would play.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play that much. I don't see it, especially with Cool Mo D. Like Cool Mo D has actually been killing it lately, and his confidence seems like it's through the roof right now. So if I was the coach, I would still play Diwara over Sohan. If that's going to be a question later, because it's really going to be between both of them who's going to get those type of minutes at the 4 and at the 4 and the 3. Now, especially now that OG's hurt, but. And when OG comes back, I don't expect Sohan to probably play at all, unless it's like some type of defensive assignment, and that's it.
Yeah. Let's welcome Latoria B to the show. Appreciate you, sis, hopping on with us.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Not the last time.
You need some sound effects. Some sound effects.
Oh, I do have sound. Listen. They not labeled, up. And y'all know my condition. So if I hit one,
it's like random.
Steph might hit a button. You might hear a moose or something come out.
Don't hit a boot. Don't hit the boot.
I never know.
Wow, and it's so small.
Yeah, don't worry about that stuff. We good.
Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, I think I got it. Can y'all hear it?
No.
Wow.
There you go.
I heard something.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I guess we'll go to you next. We're talking about Sohan. Did you like the signing or not? What do you think he'll bring? And do you think he'll get any run on this team?
We're pretty deep already, right? So it's always good to have somebody else for reassurance. As far I don't follow him, so I don't know as much about him maybe as everybody else. But from what I could see, just from doing a little brief research, he's not really much of an offensive player, but he's a great defensive player. And if that's what we were lacking, right? That's a problem area for us. He can only reinforce something that we were lacking in. So I like the signing because we don't need more guys that can shoot. We have a ton of people who can put the basketball in the hole. So we don't really need another scorer. We need another defender. And if he's half the defender everybody's saying that he is, we're going to have a great guy to go to when we need to just lock everything and everybody down. And then the fact that he's actually tall and athletic, it makes a difference because we're so small. We play big, but we're small. So it's always great to have a big man to come into the game to lock people down. So I'm excited. I just don't know where he's going to fit in.
Yeah.
If we're bringing, I thought about you, right? When they signed him, I'm like, maybe Mo is not going to get as much run because he's more, he has more time in the league than Mo. He's more experienced. So maybe he gets the nod over those Mo D minutes. But Mo's been playing really good, and I don't see them shutting him down. So I just don't know where he's going to fit in. But then I don't think anybody saw him shutting Kolek down. And he's basically, he basically had to take a back seat. So You know, we gonna see because Mike Brown is a wild card. Sometimes you feel like you know exactly what he gonna do, and other times you do not. But what I will say, Nick Nation, is you got you a dog, right?
Hey, a defensive dog. You know
You
what I
got
mean?
two.
Right, right.
There you go.
Alvarado.
There you go. There you go.
We're,
There you go.
we're gonna I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick Nation.
No. I didn't say.
We're gonna revisit the Sohan Diwara question a little later. I'm gonna go to Escott and then to you, Nick Nation. You can follow up with that question. Yeah, go ahead. I don't want to make it too complicated. Yeah.
On Escott or me?
Escott.
Escott. Okay.
Which one on the Sohan?
Yes.
Yeah, on Sohan. Well, first of all, thank you guys, man. Thanks for having me on the panel. Salute to the panel. Salute to the chat. As far as Jeremy Sochan, I'm okay with this on him. I really wanted they bought out Nicholas Batum. You know, that'd probably been a better one for us. But Sohan is a good defensive player, man. If he could bring the energy like Alvarado, that would be even great for us. Because, like I said, we need an active energy, high energy player. Like I said, part of the Knicks problem on the starting unit, the core players, those guys play with low energy. And you see how Alvarado, the energy that he plays with, nobody on the team really has that. So, and what you've seen from him is what you see when you play the Pistons and those other teams, their bench players. They bring that energy when they want to play the Knicks. And now we got one player like that, but we need more players like that. So if Sohan can bring that, the little time he's going to play on the court, I need to see that. Because I know I saw him in San Antonio. He was a good defensive player and stuff like that. So that'll help us. He's 6'8", 6'9". He liked the rebound and play defense. That's a great thing, man. As long as we can get like another defensive big wing out there, that's even better. So that way if Hart can play him or Diwara sometimes can play him because he's only a rookie, that probably could help us. So we'll see, man. And kudos to Mike Brown. I mean, everybody knows he's an offensive coach, but it looked like he's starting to get more defensive players. You know, he's starting to balance the team out, which is a good thing.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Just having lineup versatility, and just can go to different lineups depending on the game situation, depending on the team we're playing. We're getting more. I thought we had that to start the season, and I think adding Alvarado and Sohan just adds to that. Nick Nation, your thoughts on the signing? We'll get into whether he's going to take Diwara a minute, but just your thoughts on the signing. And, to me, I think he fits more in a Thibodeau type system. Mike Brown tends to like players that can shoot. So it's going to be surprised. I'll be surprised if he gets significant minutes under Mike Brown. But just what's your thoughts on the signing and his fit for this team?
I like it. And the reason why I like it is more so versatility of looks that we can give some of these guards. You look at, some of these dominant athletes, and sometimes, in order to slow them down, you got to give them quite a few different looks. So with adding a player like that who can, just maybe, hey, there's certain games. I'm not saying that he should be, every game, every revamp the whole team. No, but there are things I think that at times where you say, hey, let me go throw this guy in there, maybe, give him 3-4 minutes here, 2 minutes here, just to give some of these, especially cats like Cade, to give him a little bit of a different look. And, something that'll say, hey, we got a guy in here that may block a shot, may slow you down, a player that might not get displaced as easy, things like that. Because, I like Alvarado. He's a small guy, but quickly, displaced. So having a guy like this, Sohan, more of a veteran, let's see what, like she said, Mike Brown is a wild card. So let's see what he does. We got a good shooting coach here. Maybe there's a little tweak that he might, help the kid out a little bit. So let's see. All right.
Ajay, where do you thoughts and where do you see him fitting in, if at all? Like, do you see him as just being a super situational guy?
He's going to be well, first of all, welcome, Victoria B.
Oh, thank you.
And shout out to the chat as usual. And this is a very big panel here, man. I'm
loving it. I'm loving it.
I'm not gonna be doing a lot of talking today. I'm gonna learn a lot.
I'm gonna try not to.
I am I'm definitely okay with the signing. As you guys know, you guys, you listen to the show, you part of this panel. I've been crying for a power forward since I don't know when, because since Precious, and Precious wasn't getting a lot of minutes. So since Precious stopped getting minutes, so that that's been a while now, right? So he's really, he's got the height, he's got the length, but he's really built like a small forward because of his, his size. But he can play the power forward when necessary. So we needed a guy who, like I said, who can set picks, grab rebounds, and score a couple of points every now and then, and a couple of assists. You don't need somebody who's gonna come and make a huge impact, but just enough. Shout out to JJ. Enough of an impact to if he gets a couple, and I think he's gonna get some minutes, especially right now. Going down the stretch, Josh Hart, he's playing, but he's every now and then he's limping around. He's nursing something that would probably, if we could sit him for a couple of games, it's probably not a bad idea to sit Josh Hart. And we only have like some 27 games or something like that for the season. If we can get these guys to play together, it may not be a bad idea to start cutting those guys minutes, getting them ready for the playoffs. So Sohan's gonna be somebody that we could throw in there. And obviously, Jose Alvarado also, we could throw him in there, take a lot of the Brunson minutes, especially if he's performing. Yeah, he doesn't have to perform like he performed yesterday, but the half of that will be sufficient enough to be getting plenty of minutes. So I'm okay with the signing, and let's see if he gets some. I mean, we'll discuss how we think Mike Brown's gonna juggle the lineup to see how we're gonna insert him in the lineup to get some minutes. But I definitely think he's gonna get some minutes simply because he chose to come here, and I'm sure there are probably a dozen other teams who wanted to. He chose to come here, not because he don't want to play, it's because they probably see an opening for him to get some minutes, so he agreed to come here.
That's a great point. You think behind the scenes they put out some feelers about whether or not he would get some playing time on the team?
Absolutely. Because somebody like Jeremy, I'm sure there's a lot of teams that would want him to come on board after the buyout. But him choosing, he chose to come here, so it's probably because they told him, "Listen, you're gonna get some minutes."
Yeah, I think it's because of OG being out for a while. He might be out for longer. We don't know. That's probably why. Just like the Deuce thing. Same thing with Alvarado coming over. These guys are gonna be out for a longer period of time.
It's a toenail, right? His toenail was removed.
Yeah, they said his toenail came off.
Wow. Yeah. Geoff, before I get to you, I want to read this super chat, and then I want to add another layer to the question for you. Shout out to Keorian Jones. I appreciate the super chat. Appreciate you rocking with us. Our team is inconsistent, so it will always be next man up. And if I'm hearing you correctly, meaning there's always somebody that you can pull out the lineup because they're not performing, in that particular game. And with this team, there's other options now. So we don't have to just ride that player who's not playing well.
And that's a great thing.
Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah. That's a great thing. That's a really good point. Geoff, you can answer the previous question, but I also want to move in to the Diwara question as well. Do you think his signing comes at the expense of Diwara getting consistent minutes? And, Ajay brought out a good point that there must have been some feelers out, prior to him choosing the Knicks that he would get some time. How do you feel about him possibly getting minutes at the expense of Diwara?
I'm not a huge fan of it, but I understand it. And I think the Indiana Pacers game is a really good example, right? Diwara struggled in that game. Rookie struggles, didn't really play very well on defense. And I think that could have been a night where Sohan could have, come in and maybe given a player like Siakam a little bit more difficulty just because he's a little bit more versatile defensively. I living in Texas, I've actually gotten to see quite a bit of Sohan over the last 4 years, and the Spurs fans love him. He played point guard for Pop, but don't let that fool you. He did that while they were tanking, and it was a brilliant tanking strategy. The man is not a point guard by any stretch of the imagination. So get that out of your head. It's not what he does well.
Okay.
I really think that Leon Rose is building a 3-car garage in his house, and he wanted a discount on bricks. And so no better person to bring in than Sohan. But there are some things that Sohan does really well. He's very active. He's constant effort guy, and a lot the same way that you see from Alvarado. You definitely can see. You can definitely see his activity. He's not a very high IQ player on offense, but he is on defense. It's really strange. He makes a lot of bonehead passes a la Josh Hart when he's given the opportunity to play make. But he can hit guys in the short corner and get into the paint. He shoots so badly from 3, but his overall shooting percentage is about 48%, which means that when he looks inside the key, he tends to finish, which is a good sign. So I actually think that he and Towns pair together pretty well, because I think that he can take up a lot of the slack defensively, and they complement each other's skill set pretty well. He's a guy you can run the pick and roll with. He's really short roll. Which would be an effective play, I think, between he and Cat, and so I think you could find some value added there. I don't necessarily know, he's 22 years old, so he's still a kid. Yeah,
How old is he?
22. He's 22.
Oh, wow. It's a baby.
And so you don't really usually see 22-year-olds on the buyout market. So that maybe is a red flag. I don't know, but he's worth taking a flyer on because he's inexpensive, and he does serve a purpose, and he can just go out and guard. If you just need, let's look at the Pacers series last year. In last game 1, if you got the last 5 minutes and you're up by 10 points, you don't really feel like you need to score. You just need to get stops. That's a situation where you can put Sohan in the game, and he can help you quite a bit. Because he is versatile. You could switch every pick and roll with him. He's not really good as a small ball 5. That would be my other caveat. If you're thinking that he can fill that role, I don't really think that's him. But he can guard 1s and 2s in places, and he's definitely stout against 3s and 4s. So he kind of fell out of favor in San Antonio because they've got a younger guy, Carter Bryant, who's got a little bit more upside to him, and so he kind of got his spot taken from him. I think it's kind of a mistake to call him the 15th man. I think he's at least up to number 12. I think that he'll be ahead of Kolek. I think he'll be ahead of Huckporty, and certainly ahead of Jameson in terms of rotation. I don't know that he'll be a lot higher than that. But when you're talking buyout candidates, you're not talking about someone you're expecting to come in, play 15, 20, 25 minutes a game. You're talking about spot players who, can fill a role. And if you need a couple of stops, you can plug him in certain lineups and it's going to work. And from that standpoint, I think he works well. And he's a useful asset to the team.
Yeah, for sure. I want to get a few of the chat's perspective on this. Kerry Cox, appreciate you, feels that Sohan is a better defender than Diwara.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Yep.
Okay.
Currently.
Okay. JJ, I don't want him getting minutes over Diwara. This is interesting because I thought about this before, before the show. I don't think Sohan is going to be here past this year. I think Diwara will. I know KNICK is a little concerned about him getting a poison pill contract as a restricted free agent and the Knicks not being able to match. I do think the Knicks will figure out a way to bring him back. But I will say this, if they find that Sohan is more ready right now to help the team, I really don't think that hurts Diwara, because it's not like we gotta bring Diwara along this season because we want him in the rotation next season and we want to see what he can do, because we're not going to re-sign Josh Hart, right? If he can take that spot, or we're not going to re-sign Bridges if he can take that spot. So let's give him a long runway. Let's bring him along. Let's really see him, because he can be in the rotation next year. I feel like if they decide to go with Sohan because they're making this push and they feel like he gives them that defensive versatility, and they can find some lineups that maximize him, I think that's going to be important given his limitations. Diwara is still going to be on this team next year, and can still come along, from what I'm saying. So, if you want to say, he would be a little better next season if, he played over Sohan, that might be right. But I think it comes down to would the Knicks be better? And I think that really has to be, in the forefront, Cade, Siakam, Tatum if he returns, Jaylen Brown. We had Josh Hart on. Now, obviously, OG was out, right? But OG could be out, and the next best player was Hart on Siakam. So if he can give you those spot minutes, I think Diwara is going to be fine. I think he's going to be here for a long time. I think he's going to be fine.
He is. I just sent your article, Steph. I just sent your article. Yeah, he's going. We don't got to worry about it. He's going to be here.
Yeah.
Add one more point, Queen, just that I just thought of. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned it already. Also, something to consider is we have in the last 27 games, whatever it is, we have 5 second game of a back-to-back, which means that those are 5 games where Mitchell Robinson is not going to play one of them. And so that's going to open up a window of minutes, and it's going to be nice to have a versatile defender like a Sohan that you can plug in, not necessarily at the expense of Diwara, but perhaps in addition to give us more big bodies to throw and maybe place a smaller version of a lineup, as opposed, if and when Cat's in foul trouble. And a lot of Cat at the 5 and interchanging those guys at the 4 and maybe even the 3 a little bit for Diwara, which I think is, to me, Diwara is more of a 3 at this point in his career. Is it maybe not as quick enough, but that's how I see him. You may disagree, but I kind of see is that you could play not at the same time, but you could play Diwara at the 3 and give Sohan some minutes at the 4 and kind of have it work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Latoria, we're going to try to keep our comments to like a minute and a half, just given how many people are on the panel. Latoria, thoughts on your thoughts on how do you feel about him possibly getting minutes over Diwara?
I don't like it, right? And not because I don't like Sohan. That's how you say it. Not because I don't like him, but because I just don't want to take any minutes away from Diwara where he could be gaining experience. Because I think he's our future. Not to say that he can't come here, Sohan can't come here and just knock it out the park, and we want to keep him forever. But I think Diwara is literally our future, and it's hard to say, yeah, this guy should get these minutes over him, because if he's getting the minutes over him, he's never going to gain the experience he needs. And I felt like Mike was giving him those minutes to prep him for that time he's going to be playing in the playoffs. And if you take those minutes away, do you really want to play him now? Because the experience is not there. So that's where I'm at. Like, I don't want him to get the minutes, but I understand him getting the minutes just because he's more experienced.
Right. Ajay?
Do I want him getting minutes?
Just your thoughts on, how do you feel about him possibly getting minutes over Diwara?
You know what? I think probably because of the experience. Like Diwara, he's getting burned now, but in the playoffs, when the pressure's on
Mm-hmm.
and all that good stuff is going on, I think it's that's not a time for a young kid to be getting experience, right? He could
Sohan
be,
doesn't have any playoff experience either, though.
yeah, but he's
No, I
been
was
in the
just
league a
talking
little
about
bit
in the
longer.
regular season. Right, right, right.
But even I get you, Jeff, but he's been in the league a little bit longer. He's got a lot more minutes in the game, so it's not, if it comes to that, I wouldn't blame Mike Brown if he goes with the guy who's been in the league a little bit longer. But hopefully it won't come to that, right? Hopefully in the playoffs when we get there, we're gonna have like our big dogs ready to go instead of having to rely on one of those kids. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, in the regular season, I don't think he's going to be taking minutes away from Diawara. I just don't see it because Diawara has been playing well. He's been on a roll, and you could tell he's young. You could tell, he's trying to catch up to league speed. Especially on defense, you could see like he's trying, but his body's not responding to what his mind's telling because he just doesn't have the speed yet. But I just don't see him taking too many minutes from me. If anybody gonna lose minutes, probably gonna be Jordan Clarkson.
Well, Jordan Clarkson is already.
But that's what I'm saying. So whatever little
there's
minute
no
he was
more.
getting, I think he's, I mean, he might be done. Jordan Clarkson, let somebody like right now. He's situational. He's gonna be like hyper situational at some point. He's really not gonna get much. I don't think.
Okay. Knick-Knack, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna say
Nick
sort of like that.
Nation. I said Knick-Yak. Nick Nation. Nick.
Nah, I know your condition. We good.
You said you wasn't going to have that drink, Steph. I just want to point that out.
I love it.
Shit, too.
That was great.
But I think it's similar like what Ajay said in a sense. Big shout out to World Wide West. I'm pretty sure there was some back channels and some discussion of it, But then again, if they say, hey, come in and earn it, Mike will give you the chance. We're at the All-Star break. Come in, practice, see what you can do. And he's probably confident that, you had a few years in the league. I'm pretty sure he's probably confident saying he can come in and pull somebody's minutes or, we already know OG is not good with pain. So if this thing persists a little bit, he will be getting minutes because he's proven that that's not who he is. He doesn't like to play, discomforted or do pain. He likes to rest himself and then, come back full. I can't blame a guy. I get it. But do I think that, as far as Diwara, do I want him taking the awards? Hell no. Because I see, Diwara's upside as the future, and I think that his ceiling is very high. As far as the playoffs is concerned, Diwara reminds me one of those rookies, and it's not, and I say this with respect, but he's one of those rookies, he seems like to me, where he's too stupid to be nervous or understand what he's actually going through. And players like that do sometimes succeed because the pressure doesn't hit them the same. So because we've seen him come down and do wild stuff like, yeah. Tell Cat, nah, wave Cat off. You know what I mean? Get down low or say whatever, to come down. Rookies just coming down and saying, hey, I'm just gonna pull up for this three. He has that confidence about him. And I don't, I think that even in certain playoff situations comes in, I just think he's one of those kids that doesn't, that weight doesn't sit on his shoulders like that. And like I say, those ones can be dangerous. That's at least what I'm hoping for.
Do you think if Mike Brown does tend to go with him over Diwara, do you think that impacts Diwara's ceiling? Do you think that impacts Diwara's trajectory in his development? Jerrell and then Escard?
No, I don't think this hinders Diwara at all. I think they play two different positions. If you watch Jeremy Sochan, I think he's more of a traditional four than Diwara is. And I actually think this is actually a good thing because Diwara doesn't have to play the four now that OG isn't here. Yeah, I think it's not a coincidence that Deuce and OG is out, and we got Jose and Jeremy Sochan on the team.
Mhm.
So you
Like,
see them playing together. You see him
yeah,
taking more of OG's minutes now that he's out, and Diwara. I mean, listen, when we're whole, Diwara was getting limited
right. When
minutes.
we're whole, neither one of them are going to play that much. If we're going to be honest, and yes, they can play together. Like I said, Diwara is more of a wing. Jeremy Sochan can play the wing, but offensively, it's like night and day between the both of them. They don't play alike at all.
Yeah.
So I don't see them. He's not. He's not going to hinder him getting any type of development or anything like that. I think it would actually be better for Diwara.
Okay. Escott, what's your thoughts on it? And then Sharon has made a good point that I want to talk about next.
Yeah, I agree with Jerrell. I'm not really worried about Diwara's minutes being taken. Diwara's he's been producing. He's actually one of our better 3-point shooters. So he shoots better than Clarkson and Shamet from time. But yeah, I'm not worried about it. The thing with Sohan, I just want to see if he could really just handle the ball and stuff like that. Because like I said, I'm always worried about ball handlers in the playoffs, the pressure. Because like I said, we don't have too many good ball handlers on the team, and that's the guards. So it's only Brunson, and now you got Alvarado. And Kolek is all right, but I mean, you can see when they play some pressure on him, he lose that ball. So I'm trying to see Sohan bring that ball up and stuff like that. That's what I'm going to be watching for. And if he can help do that stuff, I'm good with it, man. So, but I don't see him taking his minutes and stuff like that. And we also have to remember the Knicks are one of the most injured teams in basketball, so they always it's going to be injuries. Bridges is the only Iron Man on the team. Everybody's going to miss games, And come to the playoff time, we be having players out by the playoffs. So, I could see them playing together, like Jerrell said, and stuff like that. So it'll be good. And also for Diwara, I mean, this is somebody he could learn from if he could play some good D and stuff like that. Take him on his wing, things like that. So I see it's a good thing for Diwara and stuff like that.
They do play different positions, but the reason why I'm saying that he may take his minutes is because of the lineups Mike Brown might put out there. Like Mike Brown may decide that I'm going to play Sohan at the 4 and I'm going to have 3 guards with him and Cat. Or I'm going to, you know what I mean? So we'll see. Shout out to you, DJ Shutter. I appreciate you. This is what Sherwin had to say about the issue. I'm sorry. Sohan can do things that Mo D can't. He's a better ball handler and finisher. He's also a better defender. Mo is a better 3-point shooter, and that's it. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, I do think that Diwara is in terms of playing the passing lanes, in terms of his length, in terms of his lateral quickness, he just has to be in position first. Like I thought he did a great job on Jaylen Brown when we played Boston. And then there was, and then there's some possessions where guys just go right by him and like, wow, like that, that shouldn't happen. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. That's all I could say. Yeah, I don't really know how, because he's not a Mike Brown type player in my opinion. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out.
Steph, you say that because he can't shoot, the Mike Brown thing?
Yeah, I just feel like Mike Brown kind of leans toward players that can shoot the ball, than just, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm like, I think Thibodeau, oh, great.
Oh, he would have started.
Facts.
Because I might not be the biggest Sohan fan, but one thing he does do, like he's a A+ perimeter defender, though. That's one thing he can do. Everything else might be like a C and down, but when it comes to perimeter defense, Jeremy Sochan can be one of the best perimeter defenders in the game.
And he can switch too.
Yes, very much so.
And he can switch.
You know what they say, right? They say offense wins basketball games, defense wins championships. So if the front office believes in the team that they have and they're out there picking up guys like Alvarado and Sohan, because they feel like they need to tighten up their D, they moving in the right direction.
That's what I said, balancing it out.
So, yeah, because we could shoot the lights out, and we were doing that for the beginning part of the season, but that defense was real shaky. So you go out
Yeah.
there and you pick up some defensive specialists, then you even that ground out. The Knicks are scary.
Yeah, I think it's going to be on Mike Brown to put those lineups together. They have to be balanced.
Yes.
You can't be going with like the Knicks can
Yes.
put out an all brick team, and I
Right.
think
Right.
in today's NBA, you have to be able to score the ball. Like this thought that you're gonna go out and hold teams to like 90 for 16 games throughout the playoffs, probably not. But you do need to be able to play good defense, but you also need to be able to score the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mike Brown puts these lineups together where there's enough offense and enough defense. And he has some players now. We have nobody. I shouldn't say that. I don't think Bridges is a good defender on physical guards like Cade and even DeRozan. Even like they get so much space with their
bully.
Yeah, bully. They create a lot of space. OG can't guard everybody every single night. So being able to have somebody like Sohan that you can put on him, I think that bodes well. For the Knicks. Anything else about it? And kudos to the Knicks for bringing in another high energy player, like Escott said earlier. Bring some energy, some defense, some deflections, get some stops to kind of pick the energy up of the team.
One more thing, Steph, now that you said that, one thing he is A+ in also. He is an A+ irritator. Jeremy Sochan is a jerk. He will get under your skin. So yeah, that like he's not a punk. He will try to almost fight everybody.
Nice.
Oh, we got two now.
Nice.
No, we don't need the fights though. The bravado,
That's why I said almost fights. That's why I said they almost fight. They're never gonna fight, but almost.
I have a question for you, Geoff. Since you're more familiar with them, right? And you brought it up, Queen, about McCall having such difficulty guarding guards like Cade and things like that. You think Sohan will be a better fit for those type of assignments?
I mean, I don't think there's any question. I mean, he's he may struggle with the small, speedy types, like kind of like OG does. But if you're talking about a guy like I think he can guard anywhere from a Jaylen Brown up to a Pascal Siakam, like anything in that kind of range. I think he's really adept at, which is really good because especially if you can pair him with Alvarado, let's say, because Alvarado can get those quick guards. So then if you have a lineup where you want to lock down. Again, I don't know how they're going to score the ball, but that's a different situation. But if you're just looking at defense, he can guard, and he's so switchable, right? And that's the other thing that's nice. If the Knicks want to run a switch everything scheme, he'll fit in flawlessly. He can switch anything. So that makes him he's a very versatile defender. I think you're going to really like watching him play, and as Jerrell said, he does get under people's skin, and he's not afraid to mix it up with the Lucas and the LeBrons and and so forth. And so he's definitely a competitor.
I feel like Leon plugging holes.
I have a question.
I like it for the Indiana situation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I said I only like it because I'm intrigued by it as well. Let's say a playoff situation, similar to what Indiana was last year, and a lineup of OG, Mitch, Sohan, Deuce, and Alvarado. Just say like this, you know what I mean? For one stop, I need to get one stop in there. I'd like to see something, you know what I mean? Like I'm intrigued by little things like that, because sometimes one stop is all it takes. We look at that other game where we needed Mitch to make that one stop, and that one stop won us the game. So I'm intrigued by seeing that, hopefully.
Yeah. Geoff, Jerrell, and whoever else is familiar with him, if he gets a steal, is he someone similar to OG or similar to Hart, who can just go the length of the floor? and
Yes.
lay it up? Okay.
Absolutely, yes, he can.
Yes.
Don't ask him to make any plays in the half court as a lead guard, but if you're talking about grabbing a rebound and go, absolutely, that's in his skill set.
Wow, having another guy like that, can be, can be helpful. For me, it's just about the versatility that Mike Brown will have to make to make decisions. Escard, you wanted to say something?
I was just saying with Diwara, like I said, he has a trajectory to me, like almost like how Pascal Siakam is. To me, almost like the same players. I mean, the way Pascal, handles the ball, you can see it. It's kind of shaky, but he's one of those like steady guys. And actually, Diwara like shooting a 3-point better than Siakam did in his rookie year. So we just got to remember he's only a rookie, man. And look at like he's bringing the ball up. He's not afraid to bring the ball up. That's all. Once he gets more comfortable and gets, it's going to be even better, man. So we just got to be patient with the guy. He's going to develop, because right now he got the 3-point shot. All you got to do is get the mid-range game because he got the size of 6'9". So, hey, we got something special here, man. Just let him keep developing.
And he's not old enough to
keep
buy a
him.
beer yet.
And the Knicks don't do the Knick thing and give him away.
Oh, no, they're going to keep him. I
guys.
sent her the article how they're going to keep him, though. They're going to keep him.
Okay.
Yeah.
They make me very nervous with stuff like that.
Yes.
He love to give away talent.
Well, tough decisions have to be made. I think when they've made those
Absolutely.
decisions, it was because they felt like, whoever, I think they had to give up somebody to make room for DiVincenzo. That might have been Obi. Ajay blowing up my phone. I'm on the road. I have to pull over to the side and calm him down. So they could sign DiVincenzo.
Talk him off the ledge.
There's a method to the madness. So this is going to be interesting in the offseason. I do hope they keep him. I'm not concerned about him not developing if Sohan comes in and he's just lights out defensively. And Diwara doesn't get a lot of minutes. I still think Diwara will be on track next season as far as development. I think he's in the long range plans of the Knicks. Let's talk a little bit about Alvarado. For those, I think this is our first show since signing him, and we've been able to at least see him in a few games. Gritty, tough, small but physical. He's an actual point guard that can play the position. You can see his decision making. He can run a pick and roll. 5 steals last night. I don't think he's going to shoot 8 for 13 from 3, but if he's a little better 3-point shooter than we expected, that bodes well for us. We'll start with Ajay, then Nick Nation.
Close enough.
He knick-knack now, bro.
and shout out to Nick Nation. I talked about this when I did the show with Geoff. That was this morning, right? This afternoon, helping us get to 100 subscribers on Facebook. So we are streaming to Facebook today because Nick Nation put on his poster. He got out there, rustling up the voters.
Those things. I'm those things that be waving like this.
Right.
A wavy Davy.
And then he texted me back. He said, we got to 100. So I appreciate you for sure. I do.
Oh, yeah. I think we're like at 112 or something like that.
Oh, really? What?
I'm 110, 112. Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Look at
He
this.
got lots of friends.
A mover and a shaker on the panel. We appreciate that. Thoughts on Alvarado through 3 games? Kolek he's basically taken Kolek's minutes. Thoughts on that? Do you think that impacts Kolek's development? Do you think it's the right decision? Whichever direction you want to go with Alvarado.
So one thing Mike Brown has, what he's proved to us since he's been here, right, is like he's had the ability to manage his roster, to bring guys in, like depending on the game, depending on the opponent we're playing. Like, so, quote unquote, the game tells you what to do, and the game tells him who to put on the floor. right? And he's done that. So it's only been 3 games, but I have no doubt that there's going to be some games where he puts Kolick instead of Jose Alvarado, depending on who the opponent is and depending on who or what you're looking for at a particular time during the game. So obviously, Alvarado's new guy. You want him to get his feet wet and you want him to get going. So you want to see what he has. Even in the game in New York, where obviously he was nervous, which is, I don't care how experienced you're in the league, man. All of a sudden you get traded to your hometown team, and you playing in front of a ton of family, like at home. Listen, something's gonna happen, right? You're not. I don't care how professional you are. Like, you're not gonna be as loose as you're supposed to be. But his production is gonna be somewhere between yesterday's game and his second game, the game he played at Madison Square Garden, right? So it's not gonna be, like that. One thing you could count on him is the defense, right? So again, depends on what you need, what Mike Brown determined that we need at some point in the game. If you got to sit Jalen Brunson down, and he'll make the determination, what do you bring Kolick? Because Kolick, he could run the offense, and he's a better 3-point shooter percentage wise than Alvarado. So it depends on what you need. And if you play in a team that plays great defense, gonna press him a lot, you don't want to put him in that position. You probably go with Jose Alvarado, who's a little bit more experienced, who can handle a little bit more of that pressure. Listen, it was definitely a good pickup. It's just up to Mike Brown to manage those guys, however he sees fit. The way I see it, Queen, I think everybody is gonna have a chance to contribute to what this team's got to do. It may not be consistent. It may not be Kolick plays, 18 minutes or 15 minutes a night or 12 minutes a night. It may be some nights where he plays 12. There'd be some nights where he plays 2 in garbage time. Same thing with Alvarado. Same thing with Jordan Clarkson. That's the case with him right now. But when you come up, you got to be ready to do what it is you're supposed to do. So far, and for the most part, I think those guys have been ready. Kolick, even when he sits down, when he comes in, like, he doesn't play for like 3-4 games. He comes in, he produces, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so far they've been ready, and you just hope it keeps going. But I'm gonna count on Mike Brown to make the right call at the right moment against the right team, to get these guys, to put these guys in the best position for him to play, to perform well for this team and help this team win.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to, I personally don't think that's going to be the case with Alvarado and Kolick, that he's going to like, okay, so I think I need Kolick here. I think I'm going to be Alvarado here. I think Alvarado is going to be the guy. But that's not to say that Kolick won't get minutes. I think he will. Nick Nation, then Latoria, then Escott.
No, I was going to,
go ahead.
To respond to what you're saying, I think we're going to see some Kolick and Alvarado backcourt for a few minutes at a time. Okay, so it's not going to be either or. Sometimes it's going to be the both of them, especially with Deuce out right now. So Mike Brown, he's done that a lot of times this year. Put the 2 tiny backcourts and then run with them for a few minutes and see what he gets. So I think you're going to see that.
Okay. Nick Nation, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I was saying I really like his speed. The grand theft part of him. I love that. His hustle, his energy. To get those, those 5 steals, and you could see it. Because we're sitting there watching it, like, and he runs up and he's like a sneaky fox. Shoot, So we have.
I think you just stole your internet
with the ball. And what's name? What happened? Am I there? Okay. Yeah. I said I like that we have a point guard that we can, push, get some speed and some pace out of. Not that we couldn't get it out of Kolick, but he's a notch faster than how Kolick can, move the ball. But I think, I like, his shooting right now. I'm still reserved to actually see him, at least 10 games on this team to kind of get a better assessment of who he is and and what his game is about.
Mm-hmm.
But we all wish that there was a way of him, like he's saying, him and Kolek can exist. If it is, I don't know. But to me, I just think that Kolek is a player that will push somebody, some team, some way, somehow. I don't see that this kid not making it, regardless if he's benched or not.
Okay. Latoria?
You're on mute.
Too, right?
You're on mute.
I think we've had too little a sample size for me to have like a valid opinion on Jose Alvarado, because I didn't follow him, so I don't. I know of him what I've seen of him for 3 games, but I'm excited to see him in the backcourt with like a Deuce. Like I don't know if I like the idea of him and Kolek back there, because the backcourt is just going to be very small, right? And I don't think that works for very long periods of time. So that's not something that I would be looking forward to seeing. I want to see him out there with maybe Deuce, because I think they play great defense together. I'm looking at defensive lineups. Like, my mind is already in April and May and June. I'm like, I know it shouldn't be because we got so many games to play, but my mind is already in April, May, and June. And I'm looking forward to seeing our defensive lineups, not necessarily offensive ones. So I like Alvarado from what I saw, just because he liked to mix it up. He not a punk. So we'll see, after the All-Star break, how I feel about him. But right now, I just feel like it's such a small sample size. Like, I don't really have a great, I wouldn't say a great opinion, but I don't have that much of an opinion on him because I'm not really familiar with his play. But what I saw so far, I like.
Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude's always got his hand in the cookie jar. That one, he's
I love
really.
that.
I mean, you can see it coming as Knick Nation. That's what I love about it. The ball handler looking up court doesn't see it, but everybody on television can see he gonna get this ball. And what the best part is, it's always after he makes a bad turnover or misses a 3-pointer badly, he just hustles back and gets into the play, and he just. Swiper the fox back there. I mean, he just pilfers his little heart out. I like what he's done. It's a small sample size, Latoria, but he's got a great point about that. But I think one of the things you can look at, what does he do that's sustainable and what does he do that's not? Like, obviously the 8 for 13 from 3-point range is not sustainable. That's not who he is. But I don't think he has to be that. If he just is around 35%, enough to keep the defense honest, I think he's okay because of his playmaking skill and his ability to set up and run a team, which he's shown consistently. The New Orleans Pelicans were bad in almost all of his time there, and yet he's consistently had a very high box plus minus, so and net rating. So here's a guy who consistently has had a positive rating on the teams that he's been on. He reminds me of Josh Hart, except he's 6 foot instead of 6'5", right? I think that's really the big difference. I mean, he does a little bit of everything. He leaves it all on the floor. He brings a toughness and an attitude that this team sorely needed. And I think Sohan is going to help with that too. So yeah, I could definitely say the early returns are really good, and that's from someone who never watched him play and didn't really know much about him. I was really puzzled as to why we would get a 6-foot guard who can't really shoot threes. That was my initial reaction. So he's definitely winning me over play by play, and and that's even with the struggles in the Indiana game, which I think Knick Nation said rightly. He was just, I think that was nerves as much as anything. So I really think he's going to be an excellent addition moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Anything on Alvarado? It's already an hour. I just looked at the time. Anything else on Alvarado? I do want to get into just reviewing the team itself as well.
Yeah.
Steph, I'm about to step off soon, but I'll say something about Jose real quick. Because I've always liked this game. I'm one of those people that actually follow him. Jose is a dog, man. Like, he's obviously somebody that we needed. You can already tell because he's only played a few games, and his number one attribute is not being a punk. It seems like that's the thing that everybody keeps saying about him. So he's obviously something that we needed. And I think going forward, he's going to get minutes on this team. I don't think he's going to play any worse than he's played already. He hasn't played bad. So he always had that in him. He was just a guy on the bench on a bad team. It's a lot of players like that in the league. I know he's short. So I know when he first got here, everybody, is going to say how short he is and his shortcomings and stuff like that. But he's a very good basketball player.
Jerrell, I mean, I know Leon Rose make the final decision, but credit to Dope Soul Sports Talk panel in the chat, because we've been saying, I know they watched the show, but we've been saying that we need somebody like that. Right?
Somebody that's not a punk.
Somebody that's not a punk. We need a dog. We need somebody who's gonna be stepping and standing in somebody's face. And we've been saying that. They listen. They take notes of what we say in the chat, what they see in the chat, and then they go ahead and execute. So shout out to Leon Rose for listening to us.
Right, and honestly, Sohan is even more of a irritator. Like, wait till you guys see him play. Like, he's going to be a fan favorite of New York City. Yeah. Both of them are.
Guys mixing it up, man.
I remember about him was the game we played against them last Christmas, and that San Antonio Knicks game, and he was a terror that game. So that's my only. Yeah, he was a terror that game.
He did have a good game. Good thing we won that game too.
Yes.
In case you forgot, like I did. All right.
That was the Mikal Bridges game, right? You forget that game.
Oh, on Christmas Day. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's move on to just talking about, we did the pre-game show or preseason show, talked about what we expected from these guys, what we wanted to see from Mike Brown. We talked about the double, big lineup with Deuce get the start, blah, 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 blah. Now we've seen this team for 55 games. We kind of get a chance to kind of revisit these topics, and I want to revisit. Let's start with Brunson. I know I wanted to see if Brunson had taken the next step as far as his process was concerned. I felt like to be a championship contending guard, you got to really know when to shoot, when not to shoot. What do we need at a particular point in time? But just that's what I wanted to see. Everyone else had different things. What have we seen from Brunson? Do you think that his offensive skill is undeniable? His ability to hit shots is undeniable. His clutch play is undeniable. But what have you seen? Are you satisfied with what you've seen? And what would you like to see going forward? Escart, you know what, Jerrell, we'll start with you. So, because I know you're getting ready to log on, and then Escart will go to you.
Okay. JB's my guy. That's my point guard. But like I think, the shortcomings that he had in the beginning of the season, I like you have wanted his floor game to get better, and unfortunately, it hasn't. At least I haven't seen it. Brunson seems like he's the same player with all the great stuff that he does. All of the floor game stuff that I wanted him to be better at, he hasn't gotten better at yet. It seems like he's still inconsistent when it comes to that. His defense has gotten better. I actually like that. I actually think he's a better defender than he was last year. And I think I don't even think it's close. Like, he puts in a lot more effort than he did last year when it comes to defense, but his floor game lacking is still a problem for me. And that's why, sometimes the ball move, sometimes it doesn't. Like, we got to play consistently in order for us to be, go far in the playoffs. And for some reason, I don't know, maybe because the lineups and going in and out of the lineups, they keep changing. People keep getting hurt, but I can't use that as an excuse for Jalen Brunson's floor game. That still has been lacking.
Mm-hmm. And are you judging the results? Are you judging the floor game on the results? Because sometimes he'll do the same thing and hit all the shots, and we're like, wow, he was so close. And then sometimes he'll do the exact same thing and then he'll miss, and we're like, oh man, he's a ball hog. Yeah. So like, how are, and I guess I'll ask that for the panel as well. Like, how are you judging Jalen Brunson's improvement, or or not?
Just looking at the game, the eye test, it has nothing to do with stats. Like he's still going to average the same amount of assists, still going to average the same amount of points. It's just how you get there, when and where those assists happen, who's hitting shots, who's not hitting shots. It's all those factors into the games, and we watch all 82, and we talk about all 82 on here. So it's the eye test. Like his floor game definitely has not gotten better. But his stats, even if his floor game does get better, his stats isn't going to change. He's still going to average the amount of assists. It's just when and where that he does stuff.
Okay.
I'll let y'all see y'all next week.
All right, Jerrell.
Peace.
All right, Jerrell.
Salute, Jerrell.
Escott, what were your expectations of Brunson to start the season? What have you seen, and what would you like to see?
Yeah, I'm with Jerrell on that. I thought his floor game was going to get better this season because we all know he can score. But, it's like I said, to whom much is given, much is required. You got a lot of help on your team. You got to set these guys up. You got to make the game easier on yourself. And I think he's still making it harder. Like sometimes he'll drive in there with 2-3 plays and still take a shot. Like, bro, pass the ball off. Somebody's open. Even Mitchell Robinson, he could be like, if he has skills like Chris Paul, he could be getting alley-oops to Mitchell Robinson like 15, 18 points a game easily, driving to the basket and dishing off. But everybody knows when he goes in there, he's going in there to shoot. He rarely passes the ball, so they playing him, knocking him down, doing whatever. Yeah, he's going to get fouls, he's going to make his shots and stuff like that. But I would think like that, and, that he'll get much better, as well as he still dribbles the ball a lot, pounding the ball a lot around the perimeter. I'm like, bro, just go to the basket, make a beeline to the basket and go. Because if you're dribbling the ball on the perimeter, you're just wasting time, and then you're going to get us into a bad shot clock situation, or you have to take a bad shot. So I would think that, and pick and roll, another thing I thought it was going to be, I try to see if the pick and roll between him and Cat could work this season or somebody else, but that hasn't developed. They don't even really do the pick and roll, so that's things I thought would have improved, but it just hasn't. It's almost like back to ISO ball at times.
Yeah. But compared to last season, though, let's just say last season the ISO ball was a 10. Where would you say it's at? And it wasn't. But let's just say it was at a 10, meaning like all the time. Where would you say it's at now?
I'll still say it's probably about a 6 or a 7, because most of the time when he's dribbling the ball, a lot of people are just standing around. And people's not cutting and moving. I could see he gets double teamed. Nobody's moving, and that's part of the players too. They got to move without the ball, but everybody's standing around the 3-point line, and that's what made your offense stagnant. And that's why I said earlier they stopped running Mike Brown offense. Early in the season they was running it, but then they just went away from it and went back to ISO ball, because Mike Brown offense is a quicker tempo, and like I said, a lot of guys don't want to run a tempo. They want to slow down, play a half court game. That's why somebody Alvarado, he's a fast player, so he'll pick up. He could run that tempo. Brunson, he'll run that from time to time, but he really wants to be a walk it up type of point guard. He want to slow the game down. That's not what So that's why we get into a situation we get into. If they'll pick up the tempo and move, cut to the basket, we'll get a lot of easy baskets like Mikal Bridges gets sometimes, instead of selling for 3-point shots. So that's what I want to see improve from him. Like the quicker decisions, even on the double team, make a quicker decision, pass that ball real quick. Instead of trying to dribble, and then you got to turn it over, or So yeah, so I think that's what he got to improve.
Victoria, what's your assessment of Brunson through the first 55 games?
Jalen Brunson is still Captain Clutch, right? Like, unlike everybody else up here, I don't think he needs to change much of his game. I do think he needs to pass a little bit more, right? You need to get your teammates involved early. You could take some shots down the stretch, but you need to get your teammates involved early so everybody is a part of the offense. But as far as him shooting too much or dribbling too much, like, I don't see that often. I think he falls into that when other guys aren't hitting shots. I don't think he comes into games most nights just gunning. He doesn't do that as much anymore. He looks to pass. But once these guys start missing shots, you're gonna get ISO chilling. It's just what's gonna happen. So I don't blame him a lot of nights for shooting like he does, because a lot of nights when he's shooting like that, nobody else is. Or they're shooting and they're just not scoring. So I don't really see that Jalen needs to change a lot of his game. I just think other guys need to learn how to be a little bit more consistent.
That's a wow. That's a really good point. I think that's the other side of the, of the story. I'm gonna do a AJ move and split the baby. He loves strapping and doing both.
Cadillac fence, girl.
Playing both sides. I do think there are times when it's too much. And I do think it's times when, listen, you're the
agree.
best player on the team. You can create your shot at any time. If you look at any of the best players along this league who could shoot off the dribble, there are times in the game when they take over. There's times in the games where they're going to hijack the offense for 2 and 3 possessions at a time. So to expect him to come down every time and look to pass and like that's just not his game. But I agree that his process can be better at times, right? I don't see him hogging the ball nearly as much as he did last year. I mean, that ball was in his hand from the time the game started to the time it ended. Like now he's playing off the ball more. I think players do get more involved, but I do think there are times when he takes over. And you can argue whether he needs to do that. The other thing I'll say is I'm not as confident in the players around him as the rest of you guys are. Like OG can be inconsistent. Bridges can be inconsistent. Shamet can be inconsistent. I'm not as, that, he needs to come down because he has all of these people around him that's just like great players. I don't see that. And I think you got a Bridges who sometimes he's going to play and sometimes he's going to be mad regular. You got OG where sometimes he's playing really well and he's playing aggressive, and then he'll have stretches where he's either not shooting the ball well or he's not being aggressive. You got Shamet where he could be 6 for 10, and in another game he could be 3 for 12. Can he do better at picking his spots? Absolutely, he can, particularly in crunch time. He can do a little better. But I don't know. I see in terms of the ball hogging, I think it's a lot different than last year in my opinion. But it does show up at times. Like I forgot was it the last game? The game we went into
the end of the game. That was the Indiana game.
I was like, all right.
He came down, I think, 3 or 4 straight possessions and just shot the ball. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm like, come on.
But if it goes in, he's our shit. He's our hero. If it doesn't, we like, see, look what you're doing.
That's the double-edged sword with Brunson.
Right.
Like if he does it, we're like, oh, he's clutch. If he misses shots, like, yo, he a ball. Why he didn't pass?
And I just think Jalen earned the right to be a little bit of a ball hog. I'm not saying that it's not going to be to our detriment a game or two, but I feel like he earned the right to do it.
That's fair. Jeff?
My biggest criticism of Brunson is he needs to develop a better synergy with our other all-star player, and that's Towns. I need to see those two. If this team is going to reach a championship level, both of those two have to be on the same page and be getting the maximum out of each other. And they just don't seem like they mesh very well as a star pairing right now, for whatever reason. Call it whatever you want, but I've said this till I'm blue. I would really like to see us key in with Towns early on in the game, kind of like we used to with Julius Randle in the first quarter, and then let Brunson kind of take over in the fourth quarter if necessary. But I also think he has a lot better player. I mean, I know they're not, world beaters or whatever, but I think compared with when he first got here, I think the talent around him, especially shooting wise, is superior. And so I think I think my criticism would have been like the Indiana game where he just got the ball across half court, didn't do anything with it, and shot. Like, pass the ball, cut, or relocate and get it back, right? Have it, then that way you're getting a better open look also, and you're not having to work as hard. Like, let the ball have its energy and move. And when you make that pass and then you cut, more often than not, you're going to get open because you're really difficult to guard. And if you're getting it to someone like Towns, it's probably someone maybe not as much gravity as say a Landry Shamet, but he's going to be someone who's going to have some gravity, and people are going to pay attention to that. So if you pass and you relocate, then I think you're going to get a better shot, an easier shot, a more in rhythm shot. And the other thing is maybe you get Towns involved to the point where he gets off and starts scoring. And so I just think that for the Knicks to be optimized, I think we've got to get Towns more shots. And I think that's on Brunson. I think that as the point guard, as the leader, if you're going to be that guy, you got to make sure that you feed your cat.
I think that's a Mike Brown issue, Geoff. I think Mike Brown has made it his that this is a different type of offense, and Cat is not going to be featured in this offense. I think it's more guard-oriented offense, and not that Cat doesn't see the ball, he does, but I don't think this is an offense that's going to feature Cat. And I think that's a scheme. I think Mike Brown wants him to rebound, play better defense. And, obviously when you do get the ball, take good shots, but it's been 55 games now, and we're still talking about Cat being featured in the offense. Now, can individual players get him the ball more? Yeah, they can. When they do a pick and roll, can Brunson pass the ball to him? He can. But like this spamming where him and it's mostly him and Cat and everybody else is playing off of those two, I just don't think that's Mike Brown's offense for Cat. But those who understand scheme better, I'm interested in.
I just think that's a mistake. I think it's underutilizing a weapon that, and I think it's playing away from your strengths, and I think it's a coach's job to play to your strengths. And I think you're absolutely right that it's definitely by scheme and design and the way that Mike Brown wants to play. But I think it's Mike Brown's responsibility to play to the strengths of his roster. And I think that when you have a 50, 40, 80 guy and you're freezing him out a lot of the times to the benefit of some guards who I don't think are as high a percentage shooters and players. I think that's a mistake.
I don't disagree, but after 55 games, remember before we were like, I don't know, like, is this Mike Brown? Is this like we've been talking about this even since last season? I've come to the conclusion it's mostly Mike Brown. And Brunson is a part of it too, but I think it's mostly Mike Brown in terms of how he wants to run his offense.
Excellent point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to comment on Brunson, what you've seen so far, and what you want to see going forward? And if you think he can play this position and the Knicks win a championship, or do you think he's a liability as the person with the ball in his hand all the time?
I'm going to split this baby 60-40 in a way.
60-40.
Yeah, I'm going to
all right, okay.
60-40. I'm going to split this baby a bit, but it's not too much meat left on the bone. With all these great minds here, they've picked it and left me a few strands, you sons of... All right, but
easy now.
All right. But you know what? I'm going to say it like this. Brunson, night and day as far as defense, particularly. I'm not going to go back from, say, all of this whole year, but definitely after they had that meeting and him getting over them screens, getting in front of his man, physically, have his chest lined up. He's done a much better job than that. That is for sure. Offensively, like I said, I'm going to split this 60-40, and I'm going to put 40% on the team, and I'm going to put 60% on Brunson. The reason why I think I'm going to put 60% on Brunson is that Brunson is at times, we know he's a great guard, but he's always trying to prove that. He has a chip on his shoulder, and he gets into ego points sometime with players. He's human. I'm not knocking that because great NBA players, they are, and he takes on that challenge. He takes it on sometime a little bit too much of a detriment to the team at times. But this is where I split the baby at. And the reason why I split the baby is because if we had guys that were aggressive enough as well, who's moving with him at times, then I think that he wouldn't do it as much. But there's times where you can see guys, I think Some guys, they know it. They'll say in their mind, hey, it's Brunson time. And they kind of lax back and not, you know what I mean? And then they can't get that gears up and get it moving again. You can see it in the game at times. And we're looking, because at times I'm like, Brunson, pass the ball. But then I'm saying to myself, well, when he does, who's doing anything with it? These guys are just moving from side to side, and then they're passing, they pass it, and then they pass it back to him. So eventually, you know what I mean? He puts that cape on his shoulder and he gets into that mode. What can we do with something like that? The only thing, like you say, that you can do is to say here, coaching can say here, Brunson, you know, somebody, his father, somebody, pull him in, rein him in at times and say, hey, Brunson, yo, you know, it doesn't have to be anything, you know, crazy, just something subtle that's between them, and say, here, move the ball a little bit more. But he gets it, like I say, he gets into that mode, and sometimes we can't blame him. I mean, it's at certain times I can't blame him, but there are other times where guys are wide open, and Brunson is on that mode. Guys, a lot of times he doesn't pass out of the double team fast enough, which then, you know, holds things up. That those slow moments where all of a sudden he brings the ball up and he gets the ball past the what's name here, and he's just beating those things for Mike Brown offense begins to slow things up, and it doesn't look good for our offense to flow, because nobody wants to then say here or catch that ball with 2-3 seconds. And then what are they going to do? You know, we don't have athletes like that are that great and that can respond like that. We do have one guy who seems to somehow always be good at that, and that's his boy in crime. His boy in crime, you know what I mean, at times can do it. But then again, his boy in crime at times turns off that offensive switch, which makes it a little awkward, what's name here. But we got to look at that. Even though Brunson's our captain, our leader is Brown. And Brown has got to figure this out. He's got to make it better. And I agree with everybody else. If we can't get those two guys on the same page, we are going to have a tough time, and, you know, and a quick out. They got to be better than that. That's just where my point is that these last 28 games, I think, left. They got to, those two's got to get a little bit more cohesiveness. You know, I ain't gonna say it's gonna be a world beater, because we know that that's not gonna happen, not that fast. But if they can build at least another 10, 15, 20%, things like that, to me, work much better. And to me, a lot of it is the position of where he has Cat at. And I think he needs to move Cat more at times, because it's something about the alignments of him and Brunson. It's just not working out.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You know, maybe Mike Brown is betting on, you know, betting on OG and Bridges, you know, betting on Cat being in the role he's in, and that OG and Bridges and the movement of the ball and the cutting and what have you is going to be better for the team overall in the playoffs than adding a Brunson Cat element, or having a Brunson Cat be a major scheme. We're going to see in the playoffs whether or not that's going to be better for the team. We're going to see in the playoffs if Bridges or OG is reliable. And some would even say Cat, if you look at his entire career, has been some series he's been reliable, some series he hasn't been reliable.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. Okay.
Go ahead. Nope, go.
No, I'm gonna say that. I'm just like, I just think no one player is bigger than the game. I think it's all schemes and things like that. Because when you look at back in the day when Michael Jordan came in, he was scoring all over the place, but the Bulls weren't winning games until Phil Jackson came with that triangle offense, and they started winning because it was team ball. Same thing with the Spurs. When Pop was there, you could sit Ginobili, Parker, Kawhi Leonard, sit them guys down, and those backups were still winning games because they was running the system, and them players played it and they won. So it works. The scheme works. It's the players who's not doing it, and that's part of the problem. But today's NBA is a little bit different. I guess these coaches don't really do schemes. They just spray the ball and shoot threes and stuff like that, and that's what you're getting. So,
but even in the schemes, though, the best players at the end of the day still scored the most points. Yeah, still took the most shots. Right, Michael Jordan. You could talk about the triangle, and it was great, and other people were involved. But at the end of the night, Michael Jordan had the most points, and he still took the most shots. And there were times when he did his thing too. Within the offense.
Yeah,
Same thing with Kobe Bryant. You definitely saw it with you know, with Kobe, with Kobe Bryant. I think you could do both. I think you can have scheme and you can have them running schemes, but the great ones, there's times when they do deviate from it. You see it all the time.
yeah.
All right, let's move. We ain't gonna be able. I got so much here. We're not gonna be able to get. We're not gonna be able to get to it all. But let's briefly talk about Cat. Basically, just piggybacking off of what we've already said. Different role from me, from what I see. He's gonna get what he gets within the flow of the offense. I don't think he's featured in the offense, but it's been working for the Knicks. Quite frankly, whether or not it's going to work in the playoffs, that's another story. But it seems like this is, ball movement, player movement. Whoever gets it, gets it. Just play off of, each other. And I think Cat's been playing better of late. I mean, I don't think he's scoring as much as he scored last season, but I think overall of late, he's been a bit better. What have you seen from Cat this season? Are you satisfied? What do you want to see going forward with Ajay then Latoria?
Well, I didn't go. I didn't say anything about Brunson when you talk about Brunson.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Well,
So I'm going to just touch up a little bit
Yeah.
and go into Cat because there's a correlation between the two of them.
Mhm.
So I wasn't expecting a whole lot of changes from Brunson's game. No man, I don't think it matters how much help he has. He's still gonna play his game. This is who he is. That's what he does. Like you might find a game or two where he tries really hard to try to be somebody else, but he's always gonna come back to the player that he is. Especially he's been really successful at it. So if he's not having a good game, yeah, he'll defer to other players. But if he's if he's on, man, he's just gonna be aggressive on offense and take the shot. It's just not his primary thing to get other players involved. So, but one of the things I was hoping to see, and I think as God mentioned that, so the pick and roll between him and Mitch, like he's really got to do, like he's got to make some effort because Mitch literally always rolls when he sets a pick for Brunson. Cat doesn't roll. So that's not going to happen. So that you can't really blame Jalen Brunson for that. That's on both of them because when Cat sets the pick, he just does not roll. He stays at the top. Okay, but Mitch does. And I don't know how many times Mitch is wide open down there. And it's not just Brunson. Like a lot of guys, they don't even look for him. And he'd be under him. And I mean, that's just like guaranteed basket, and they just don't look for the hoop. They just don't look for the alley hoop. He's under there. He's usually all by himself because he rolls, in the midst of the pick and roll. He's rolling all by himself. They just don't look for him. So, and that rolls into Cat. Cat doesn't roll, so you can't really blame Brunson on that one. But Cat, so again, I was not expecting too many changes. Those guys have been in the league many years. And I don't think they're going to change much of their game unless like they go through some sort of training like Mikal Bridges a couple of seasons ago changed his shooting motion or something like that. But unless they go through like a real thing in the off season where they try to switch, to change something, they're just not going to change. All right. But Cat's shooting or his offensive output has been disappointing, to say the least. And it's not like he's having a bad season, but it's just not as good as last season, right? So that is to me problematic because when we go into the playoff, we're gonna need last season's Cat to be here in order for us to win. Like you're not gonna beat Detroit with this Cat that we have. Like he'll have a game where he just scores 12 points in 15 minutes and gets fouled out. We're just not gonna go anywhere with that. Somebody mentioned lately, right? In more recent games, he's been, he's been the IQ has shown to improve a little bit. He's been staying out of stupid fouls, but he's still complaining every call. And I understand his frustration because the whistles are not favorable to him. Okay, But I mean, at some point, he's got to learn. Like, man, listen, you can complain all you want; it's not going to change. It hasn't changed anything in the past couple of seasons he's been here. I don't know if that in Minnesota he was the same way, but he complains a lot, and you know, he doesn't get the calls and he complains, and sometimes that takes him away from his game. Matter of fact, yesterday's game, there are times where he doesn't get back in the play. He's down there talking to the ref. The ref's not going to make the call when the action's already happening on the other end. So you get, at some point, you're going to have to learn that. You've been in the league like 10 years, 10 plus years, right? So that's just not going to change. But hopefully his shooting comes back, and you know, he continues to try to play smart. You know, if only he could set a pick without that hip check, man. That hip check, like he's got to. I mean, I know he does that, and I don't know how many drives. Sometimes they make those calls, but yeah, they could have called something else. But he be guilty of those things. Like when he's driving the ball, he's literally grabbing on the defender's arm. You can
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
all the time. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, why don't you just shoot some, you know? Yeah, but he does that a lot. And sometimes the calls, you know, yeah, there's contact before he does that. But when they call it on him on the replay, you see that he actually commits the foul, even though there might have been some contact before he committed the foul. So listen, you just hope he plays with a cool head, and hopefully the offense come back. I don't expect him to be a better defender. He's been, again, in the league over 10 years. He's not going to all of a sudden become Mitch Rob down low. You know, he's a, you know, when he wants to play defense, he's a decent guy. Like, he's staying in the lane. It's just not his thing. Like, he doesn't have the instinct. Like, guys will be right in front of him. Like, he's defending with his arms down. Like, he's defending. You're 7 foot tall, man. You're defending with you. All you have to raise your arm, raise your hands, and you're gonna make a difference. But he's defending with his hands down. So that's just not gonna change. Hopefully he can get the scoring back, because that balances out.
Right. Latoria, just a different part of the question, so we can just move this along. I hear a lot of, we can't win without Cat being more prominent. I don't understand where we get, like, I don't see that happening. Like, it's been 55 games. So I guess my question is, do you think the Knicks can win the way they playing right now, or do you think the Knicks' best chance of winning in the playoffs is to feature Cat a bit more prominently?
I think they need to feature him a bit more prominently.
Okay.
I don't
have to talk to
think
Mike
that-
Brown, because Mike Brown does
I know.
not.
I agree, Steph. I mean, me and you on the same page. Like, I think that this is being done intentionally. I think that his version of this Knicks team is not to feature Karl Anthony Towns, and I think it's a mistake. Like, I think it's great to watch fun basketball, but when we get to the playoffs, we all know things tighten up. That whistle, they tend to swallow that whistle. Things get a lot more physical, and at the end of the day, you need your big man in the middle of the floor clogging things up and putting the ball in the hole. And if he hasn't done it all season, he's not going to do it for you in the playoffs. So Mike Brown got to fix it, and he got to fix it now. Like, this is not sustainable. Like, we can run around the court all we want, but if we're not going to use our best player, we're not going to win. Not our best player, but we're not going to use one of our best players, we're not going to win. Like,
Wow.
I just don't see it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish, Latoria.
I don't see a world where we go into the playoffs and we think that we can beat the Detroit Pistons, and we think that we can be who else is there? Cleveland Cavaliers, without utilizing one of our best front court players. Like, it's just not going to happen. Every night, OG Anunoby is not going to knock down a three. Every night, Mikal Bridges is not going to come with his offensive game. But if you keep giving Cat the ball, Cat's going to score, because usually he's the best big man on the court. And if you can't utilize that, there's something wrong with you, Coach Brown. Not with Cat, with you. I think he doesn't get the ball as much now because they're not really calling plays. And if these are guys are out there reading and reacting, and they're running up the court, and he's usually the last guy up the court, not because it's something wrong with him, just because he's the biggest guy out there. So he's tending to be the slowest guy out there. So usually when he comes up, the offense is already in motion. Somebody's already done cut to the basket. The ball is already going into the hole. Okay, that's fine. But that's not going to fly all through the playoffs. this high-powered, high-octane offense is not going to, things are going to tighten up and they're going to slow down. And when you have those slow down moments, you need him to be in the middle, methodical, putting that ball in the hole. And if you don't get him to do it now, you can't expect him to do it for 16 games. So I
Wow.
just don't see this being sustainable.
Wow.
Well,
Escar, what's your thoughts on
I wanted to
our
say-
chances?
Yeah, go ahead. Who was going to say?
So I don't fully agree with Latoria that it's just
All right, Ajay, hold on.
no. I'm just
I know,
saying.
but I'm gonna ask the panel the question. I was gonna ask Escar his reaction to if he also believes that the key to the Knicks winning the series, winning in the playoffs, is featuring Cat, or do you believe that the way the team is playing right now is a recipe for success with Cat still getting the ball, just not being as featured?
Yeah, I mean, for us to win, I think we need to have Cat needs to have a big series in the playoff and stuff like that. So the offense, it can cater to him a little bit, but like I said, he has to do his part too. And it depends on where he's catching the ball. Because if he's catching it in the post, then that's fine. But if he's catching it from the 3-point line, that's where we get in trouble, because by the time he gets down to the post, I mean, he's doing a chicken wing arm thing and getting to the basket. I don't know why he does that. I just don't understand how this keeps happening. If you're taking the time to concentrate to do that, why can't you just get down to the basket and just get in there and score? Then they putting smaller players on him, and then he's knocking them out the way with an elbow. It's like, bro, what are you doing? It's like, what's going on with your post game? You should be able to spin off of those guys and just get in. But it's like, I don't know. It takes him like 20 years to get into to get to the basket, bro. What's going on? So it's like they irritate him. Then he's getting offensive fouls or something like that. So, and then his shooting, like I said, he hasn't shot the ball too good this season. So that's another thing. If he can get his shooting down packed, that's fine. But some of it is talent. And yeah, I know there's a whistle because I'll be yelling at the screen, like, call the foul, because he do get fouled a lot, and then on the other end, they call these little ticky-tack fouls and stuff like that. And that frustrates a player, which ain't fair. But like I said, on his part, like I said, it just depends where we can get the ball. If we put him in the post close to the basket, I think good things will happen with Mike Brown, but I don't know why nobody from the bench yells to get him the ball in the post. They trying to get him from the high top, and that doesn't work. So if they could change that philosophy, I think that'll shorten the distance to the basket and probably get better results.
And to your point, Escott, if they do that, Towns has to be smart when when he is in the I'm in the post, he's making his job harder than it has to be. Turn around and shoot the shot. Like, he's making it so much harder. But Ajay, go ahead. You were saying that you disagree with
yeah, right. Because I was gonna say part of that, and I think Esgod just pretty much said what I was gonna say. It's not just a coach; it's Cat, because Cat is featured, but what does he do with it? Right? Sometimes maybe they don't call the play for him, because I don't think the coach in the huddle, he comes in and says, okay, this is the play you're going to run. Most of the time, there's a couple of options, right? Because you have to be flexible to what the defense does, right? If they do this, is what you do that. If they do that, you do this, and so on and so forth. So it goes through Cat, but what he does with it is a different story. I think, as God, you said, with the pick and Cat could pick and roll or pick and pop. He has options, right? He does neither one of them. He stands at the top. Let the play slows down a little bit, then try to drive with the chicken wing and all that stuff, and then anything can happen from there, right? But he does get the ball, like, it runs through him. What he does with it, though, is what doesn't work. And yeah, I think it's the coaching staff's they gotta work that out with him. But I don't think it's just them. Like, he has to make an effort also to put himself in a position, because he can't shoot the yeah, you're gonna miss the first couple, but you get in rhythm, you're gonna average out what you average out. Okay, so you may have to take a couple of shots that you don't drop, but then throughout the game, eventually you're gonna start hitting them, and it makes a huge difference when the defense knows that, okay, this guy, he can roll, or he could shoot the three, or he doesn't like to play in the post, but once in a blue moon, he could be in the post and he could score from there. But he's not doing those things. It's literally the same thing with him every time.
But why do you think he's not doing it? Do you think that's him choosing to do it? Do you think it's schematics? Like, why do you think he's not doing it?
I think it's both. And that's what I'm saying. It's not just him, but the coaches also got to pull him in and say, hey, you need to do that, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. That's, you know what I'm saying? So it's not just the coaches. That's why I'm saying I don't fully agree with that, because I think some of that responsibility also falls on player. You know, and that also probably contributes to him not scoring. Like, you know, eventually when you don't see the ball go through the hoop, your 3-point is because you're out of rhythm. You know, your 3-point shot starting to not fall, and this is when the head game now is starting to affect your game, and you make these stupid mistakes out there. It's all linked. You know.
Okay. Geoff, the Nick Nation.
Well, I think. Go ahead.
You didn't comment on this, right?
No.
Okay.
No. I think that Cat is not a traditional back to the basket center. Like, I think that if we're saying to just throw the ball into him down on the block, that's not his game. And that gets him into more fouls than gets it out of him. And it doesn't really maximize his talent and what he does, in my opinion. I think that he is super effective when you play him at the top of the key, and he can beat people off the dribble drive. That's really the strength in his game, in my opinion, and that's how he scores best. I mean, he can drive, he can shoot over the top, but he's not Patrick Ewing, where you want to just put his back to the basket and have him throw it down there and have hook shots all day long. That's not who he is. I don't think that's who he's ever been. I'm not saying that he can't do that on occasion, but that's not his bread and butter. That's not how he's built his shot diet over the years. And in fact, I think his shot volume is down from last year, but I don't think the quality of shots or the type of shots that he's getting are different than last year. I think he gets a similar type of shot that he's always gotten, and then those are the looks that we want him to get, as far as I'm concerned. But what I will say is this: I think that when you're talking about playoff basketball, you're talking about hunting mismatches, right? That's why the Pacers have been so good in the playoffs the last 2 seasons, is they've been able to hunt, regardless of whether they're playing the Knicks or anybody else, even against Oklahoma City until Halliburton got hurt. They were relentless in hunting the mismatch and always getting to the players who have the greatest offensive advantage. And who are the players on the Knicks who have the greatest offensive advantage in a half-court set? It's Brunson and Towns, right? And so you have to make sure that you're activating both of those players to their maximum. In other words, do we want? I just don't think OG and Bridges are consistently those types of players, and I think that Towns and Brunson are, and Hart doesn't look to score a lot of times. He's better usually in the postseason, but I don't think he's as reliable either. So to me, that's what I think. I think we need to highlight the mismatches and attack those wherever they may be. If they're guarding him with a smaller player, Cat, just catch it and shoot over the top. Don't try and bully him down, and get the ball stolen or get the chicken wing foul or whatever the case may be. He's got a repertoire where he can do so many things. He just, he just needs to recognize the mismatch and attack whatever it is. And, and if he's got a slower player on him, then you go to your dribble drive move and you get inside.
When you shoot over the top, Geoff, you mean if he has a smaller player on him at the top of the key, you would prefer him to shoot over the top at the top of the key than to be in the post and just take a turnaround jumper?
Well, he's a career 40% shooter from above the break. Why wouldn't you want him to shoot over the top?
But above, how many of those shots are contested though? Right?
How are you going to get a good contest when you've got a player who's 5 inches smaller?
Oh, yeah, you can get a contest because Towns don't jump. He don't jump high. He don't jump. So you're going to get a good contest.
I mean, I will say this. I don't think you should bury Towns in the post and not take advantage of the fact that he can shoot a 3-point shot. But I don't think we should turn him into a wing where all he's doing is just staying at the top of the key and shooting a 3 or driving to the basket. I've watched Cat play in Minnesota multiple. He has post moves. He does have post moves, but I agree. Don't bury him down there. But he does have post moves. And if he has a smaller player on him, I don't think he needs to try to be Shaq. He can do an up and over. He can do a half hook. He has those, he has those moves in his, in his bag. I personally would like to see him mix it up a little bit. And on those mismatches, I get it. Mike Brown seems to want him at the key, as somebody in the chat said. Shout out to him or her. I think it was him. Wants to just have him at the top of the key just to create space, just to pass or just to drive. I don't think that's the best use of Cat. I think you can get some post play out of him, but I do think when he is in the post, he's just like, he got to be disciplined in the post. Like, he just be down there like what are you doing? So I don't know, but I would like to see them mix it up a little bit. I do think he has a post game, and I would like to see him. I'm not talking about being buried down there, but take some post shots against these guys that's that much smaller than you, because I don't think you taking advantage of Cat in the playoffs, just keeping him at the top of the key. Like, I'm like, oh well, good, you helping us out, by just keeping him at the top of the key, driving or shooting a three. Anyway, Nick Nation.
Oh man, you guys are making me a vegan here. Ain't much meat. We're
gonna let you go first.
Let me see what I could do. Hey, if I whisper like this, can you guys still hear me? Because I'm not sure about. My man is about to black out on me as soon as I start talking. Listen, Dave, don't black out on me, because David Smith is blacking out over there. I think he must have talk and type, either that or he's a stenographer or something, or he types fast, because he is blacking out over there. But I'll just say, I don't think Cat truly fits this offensive scheme. I don't think Brown has confidence in him. And it shows a lot of times. He won't give him the benefit of he won't give him the benefit of the doubts, like, when there's calls, when a guy does this and things like this. A lot of times when it's wrestling anywhere close to Cat, you can see they're not even really looking at times. So it is not like he will take it off Cat's word. That part's not happening. I've seen him do other players that I'm like, oh wow, he took that here, but Cat, no. I don't know who who do you blame in that sense? Is it Brown? Do I think Brown has the ability to tailor something to maybe help Cat out? Maybe. Is he going to? I honestly don't think so, because if we've gone this far in the season, I don't think that he is. I think they'll sharpen up, a few plays or a couple of keys, but this doesn't seem like, an offense for Cat. Cat doesn't make, that instant quick decision to shoot, as opposed to last year. He was much more comfortable, you can tell, working, running with Tibbs and how they ran that offense. And he was a lot smoother at it. This one, he is very indecisive. And a lot of times he's starting in the same place. He's constantly moving right. If he would change his percentage, because his percentage is probably 90-10, and I'm being kind, if he would change up and then move some time going left and powering left, he would be a much more difficult player to deal with. If he could start dribbling even to his right and go left, he would be a much more, harder player to deal with. Look at one play that was a very unique play, even at the last game, where he did catch the ball on his back, but before he could even land, he kicked the ball out into a wing, which then turned out to be a great three-point shot. That's what we want more from him. He's turning things sometimes way too sophisticated. Listen here. I'm 5'11". If I get a guy that's 5'4" on me, yeah, it's like, hey, throw me the ball. I may not be that player who has post-play moves, but you're not supposed to have to. It's a turn and shoot. It's the officiating now that puts onus on things like that, and that's part of the game within the game. And Cat has got to understand that better. What he's doing, that up arm, it's the same moves. The Cat's you got rookies putting it in referees' heads, saying, "Hey, your ref, look at this." And this dude's a rookie. And I'm like, these guys are getting respect off of that. Why? Because they know they get the paperwork on Cat. They watch film. They watch these guys, you know what I mean, in the game. These guys, they talk to each other, you know. So this is not like a big, huge secret that this is what he does. And like I say, Mike Brown just does not have confidence in him, and I don't really see it at this stage of changing. So I don't know, you know, going forward, can these guys in the future coexist? Right now, I don't know. But in the playoffs right now, if the playoffs had to come, I don't see him saying or diverting something for him. I'll see him maybe pushing for Mikhail and OG before I see him pushing for Cat. That's just how I see it. My personal thing is, but that's not what I want. I want Cat to do better, and I also want Brown to do better. There has to be a common ground, because in order to, like you say, to make a championship, which all of them are talking about, they have to make sacrifices. And if Brown, if it's his ego, if it's his style, he's got to figure it out, because otherwise you're looking at two, you know, arguably a great coach, arguably a great player, but can't get it done together. And that's not gonna fly in order for us to get a championship. Something's got to give.
Geoff, didn't I ask you that question today, or was it the other day? I was like, I wonder if he trusts Cat. I wonder if he has confidence in Cat. Or I forgot how I framed it, but
you did ask that question the other day.
That was the question. Yeah, I'm like, I wonder, like, maybe he doesn't trust him because of the foul trouble, you know, because of the crying to the refs or whatever. Maybe he just doesn't trust him. Yeah, that ran across my mind too. Nick Nation.
Hey, and Nick Nation, just to let you know, you have NBA size, because you're the same size as our guy Jose Alvarado. So
yes.
Nick Nation is NBA size,
yes.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
let's go, get him in the league. I don't think Mike Brown likes him. Oh. But I think that's to the detriment of the team.
It's just coming straight. Like, we trying to like.
No, I mean, you think about this, right? He's a coach who came here. This is a team that was already put together before you got here, right? So you brought your system, and this is the system that you want to run. But that's where I think the mistake comes in. I think that you have to adapt to your players. Your players are not supposed to adapt to you. So I don't think he's doing a good job of adapting to his players, because if one guy isn't doing well, all of you guys aren't doing well. Because this one guy can break this entire team. And there's a call out of him in press conferences. There's the hug with Draymond Green. There's just the lack of, to me, just common decency for your player. Right? We're supposed to be one band, one sound, and you're the leader of this band, and you out here taking shots at your drummer. Like, what you doing? Mike Brown rubbed me the wrong way with that, and I don't know if he'll ever be able to come back from that with me. With me. Even if we go to the chip and we win it, and we at the parade, I might throw something at him. I might throw something because I'm still mad at him. He gonna have a side eye with me forever, because that's just not how you're supposed to move with your people. And you haven't been here long enough.
I didn't like that either.
You're not doing enough to facilitate him. Like, I get it. I get all the knocks and all the criticisms because I see it too. But I also see it with other players in the league, and they don't get called for it. Cat has the absolute worst whistle in the entire NBA, and I'm still trying to figure out why. I want to know what he did. I don't know what he did. He had to do something, because I watched Joel Embiid do the same things night after night after night, and he doesn't get the call. They don't call that stuff on him. They don't call that stuff on a Greek freak. They don't like. I don't get it. I don't know why he doesn't get the respect from the officials like the other players in the league do, especially players of that caliber. Right. Like, it's weird. Like, and I get it. Like, the refs are doing you dirty, right? And I'm not saying that he not doing things and he don't, deserve some of those whistles. But the refs are doing you dirty, right? Your coach is talking about you in the press. Not a single solitary soul on your team has your back ever. Like, ever. For anything. Like, that wears on your mental. You want him to play better, but you want to play on a team where you feel welcome, right? You in a system that's freezing you out, with a coach that's calling you out, with players that's not. Josh Hart, of all people, is looking him off on a basketball court. Like, who are you, of all people, to look Cat off? Cat put his hands up, he throw it to somebody else. I'm like, what are you doing, Josh? Like, you're never in your entire career going to be the guy that he is, and you're looking him off. So he got a lot going against him on that court, and I feel like he he don't get a fair shake. I think he get more criticism than anybody there, and he getting the worst treatment of anybody there, and he's asked to make the most sacrifices. He had to change his game completely for Mike Brown. It's a completely different game. You asking somebody who you brought in here to be the Robin to Batman, and now you telling him that he not even a character in the comic book. Like, you put Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby and Josh Hart. All of these guys are more prominent in the offense than he is. How do you think he feels about that? Like, at the end of the day, we could talk about basketball all we want, but he's still a human being. This stuff he got to take home and internalize every single night. It's amazing to me that he comes to work. Like, I would have quit a lot. Screw y'all, trade me. I don't want to be here either. But I'm rooting for him because I feel like he getting the caca ends of the stick.
Toria, just wanted you to know, like, you have like a really, really big fan here.
David Smith.
His name's David
welcome.
Smith.
He said, welcome to the Cat.
Listen, that's my guy, right? Me and David Smith had our little run-in, but I get like I'll never be the super fan of any player that David Smith is, but I get the frustration being a Karl Anthony Towns fan, because you look at the player, and I'm not, again, I need to reiterate that I understand his shortcomings. I myself say, just go straight up. Like, what are you doing? You all over the place. But I also get the frustration of everything else. You're not getting the whistle. Your teammates are not coming to your aid. Your coach is talking about you in like, it's a lot. You go on social media, they're talking about this man's mannerisms and how he talk. Like, Knicks fans, they not even other teams fans. Your own team, who I've never once heard this man talk nasty about New York. The fans, the team, his teammates, the city. He's nothing but a positive ray of light when he's having any conversations about this team. I think he's so happy to be here. I don't think we're happy to have him. And sometimes I just don't think, like, Knicks fans deserve nice things. Like, you want to trade him, but they want to trade him for things that aren't half the player that he is. You want Triple J. You want Sadiq Bey. Like, you seriously want to trade Karl Anthony Towns for these guys?
No.
Like, just do it. Go ahead and do it. I want y'all to do it, and I want y'all to see what the outcome is. Just do it. Like, I just will not say Knicks fans don't deserve nice things. They just don't. They just don't. I'm gonna get off my soapbox. I'm sorry. I felt like I took over the shit. I'm sorry.
There you go, David.
I think most people want to keep that. At least from doing the shows and from the panels, I think most people, like, I think we had a show, like, most of us here, the only person we were willing to part ways with out of that call was Mikal Bridges. Like, we all wanted to keep Cat.
Because you're sensible, Ajay, right? Like, you're sensible. But I'm sure you bounce around. No, I get it. But I'm sure you bounce around like the rest of us do, right? When you go into these different chats and you go to these different you hear the people in these chats, and I've heard it from people that got podcasts. Like, let's trade them for this person. I'm like, are y'all crazy? So when you're sensible and you watch the games and you know better, it's one thing. But when you listening to these fans in these chats all over the place, man, it's a completely different story.
Listen, Sadiq Bey, we like Sadiq Bey. The only players we were willing to trade for him was Yabusele and Pacome Dadier. That's it.
Yabusele and Pacome got traded for everybody on the planet.
That's what I'm saying. But no picks either. Just those two. And send back Sadiq Bey.
Yeah. I want to get to this super chat by Parish Doug. I appreciate you. Cat is a 5 now. I think he was a 5 last season, but okay, 2. Cat is a 5 now. That's why his results are different. It's less threes and more conventional pivot play at the 5 now. Also, he's responsible for making shots. I mean, he was a 5 last season as well. And I don't think it's more conventional pivot play at the 5. He's never there.
Yeah.
They're not playing him down there. Am I missing something? Maybe I'm reading this wrong.
No, that's what I'm getting out of it too. But he's still at the top. He's still at the 3-point line. He still played the same way.
But I agree, he is responsible for making shots. The shots that he does get are well within his wheelhouse for him to make. Parish Duggar, now you're just hating. Josh is a better Knick. I mean, well, okay.
Making David Smith mad. He making David Smith mad.
He said better Knick. I mean, I don't know what that means.
That's for David Smith. That's for David Smith in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's for David Smith. Okay.
Yeah, they crashing out in there. They crashing.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah, we already 2 hours in. Wow. Okay, I just want to ask one question. We can't do OG, we can't do Bridge. I wanted to talk about Mike Brown. We might have to do another show.
We will do another show.
Another one.
We got time next week. Remember, next week we're gonna do it probably Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, that's true, because the Knicks don't. Maybe we'll do part 2.
Knicks play Thursday.
Yeah.
Next week. Okay, maybe we'll do a part 2 sometime. But I do have a quick question. Who are the top 4 players off the bench for you, if you had to choose? So we got Alvarado, Shamet, Mitchell Robinson, Clarkson, Sohan, Diwara, McCullough, Huckporty, Jemison. Maybe not. But say the starters stay the same. Who are the top 4 players coming off the bench for you? And if you feel like Brown needs to extend the rotation to 10, I don't think he will. Who's the 5 players? Esgard?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Mitchell Robinson, Alvarado, Deuce McBride if he's healthy, Deuce McBride and Diwara.
Okay. All right. Knick Nation.
Cat. No, let me stop. Just messing with y'all. But I honestly think that for me is the same as Escott's. I think that's where it's at. Clarkson is definitely would be, number 10, number 11, probably number 11 now for me.
Number 15.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because I would sure would put Sohan in before him at this stage. So, but like I said, I think it's the same as Escott's. So, no real change in there.
Okay. All right.
So, Esgard, you said Mitch, Deuce,
Alvarado, and Shamet.
I thought you said Diwara, no?
Said Diawara.
Oh yeah, Diwara.
So I
thought you said Shamet.
No, you said Diawara. So I was going to ask you.
Are we including Deuce even though he's
That's what I say. If Deuce if he's back, I don't know.
Don't make it easy, Queen. If Deuce doesn't count, then it becomes easy.
Okay, all right. Then
so now, question is, so there's no Shamet in your. So you that's it. Shamet's done for the season. Escott.
No, I ain't done for the season, but injuries part of the game. So Shamet and Diwara, they can intertwine. That's fine.
Now it becomes complicated.
Oh, that's it. I'm jumping off Escott's train now. I jumped off Escott's train. He didn't put Shamet in. I'm jumping off. I'm jumping off.
He said Deuce to lose.
Go ahead, Ajay.
No, I would go with that, but
go with what?
I would extend the rotation to 10, and add Shamet to Esgard's list.
Yeah.
Okay, but Esgard didn't have Deuce. He had Diwara.
No, he did have Deuce.
I had Deuce. It was Mitch, Deuce, Diwara, and what was it? Alvarado.
And Alvarado. Okay.
But even that,
and then you would add Sham. So you would play 10.
Yeah, but then But I also want to see what Sohan can do. So it becomes.
You're gonna see him, man. You're gonna see him. Niggas, injuries part of the
Queen,
game.
you're
You're gonna
right.
see him.
Ajay's like
Queen, you
Daniel.
are so
He's like
right.
a 13
Queen, you
year
are
I
so
know.
right. AJ will split the baby. He split that baby. Split the baby.
We're gonna call him King Solomon. They split that baby every time.
Latoria, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I don't think my four is gonna be different. I think it's definitely Mitch. It's gonna be Deuce. It's gonna be Shamit for me. And I don't know if I'm going. I don't want to go Alvarado only because I got a 3-game sample size, right? But if I could have a 4B, I'm gonna go Mo and then Alvarado.
Okay. All right. Okay. Geoff?
I'm going Mitch, Deuce, Shamit, and Alvarado.
Okay.
No Diwara.
Okay. And Nick Nation? Or did you go already?
I went, but I'm changing up now. I'm a cheater.
Take
I'll let
pop
y'all
points.
Mhm.
Somebody got to do it.
That's right. If
Say
you ain't
that.
cheating, you ain't. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So this is what I'm going with. I'm gonna switch it up on y'all. I'm going. My 4 are Kolick, Diwara, Kolick, and Diwara again. That's
There
my.
you go. There you go.
Only gets no love.
I know,
Dorcasaurus, is that you?
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Right.
Doubling down on the
Only
rookie.
gets no love.
Yeah.
Nick Nation saved Kolick because he was getting no love from us, from the rest of us.
None at all.
Yeah. Definitely Alvarado and Mitch.
Who keeps talking about Zion in this chat?
Deuce, if he's available. I really like Shamit, but I just think it's to me, I think they're different players, Shamit and Deuce, but I think in terms of what they do for the team, there's overlap. There's overlap there.
Right.
Brown loves him though. Loves him.
Mike Brown.
Mhm.
He do love him some Shamit. He had the laundromat every week.
Alvarado, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce. I don't think Shamit. Yeah, Shamit. Between Shamit and Diwara. I just think, yeah. Probably Shamit. But it makes us small. Like if you don't have Sohan in there, if you don't have Diwara in there, then you're small coming off the bench. Because the only one you really have with height is Mitchell Robinson.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Our small lineups have been good this year, though. I don't think that's been a real weakness for us.
Yeah.
Depends on who we match against.
Though.
You know, you don't want to get to the championship against a team like Houston and line up with small players. These guys average 6'10", I think, on the whole starting squad.
Rockets.
Hey, I'll take it if we're going up against Houston in the finals. I'll sign me up today.
Yeah, Houston been having some
do whatever he
problems.
wants at that point. If we're in the finals against the Rockets, I want revenge for 94. Let's go.
Yes.
I don't care who you play at that point.
You are so right. Yes.
To bring back Patrick for all I care. Just get the W.
Yeah, I think he's gonna play 10 in the playoffs.
In the playoffs?
Yeah, because the playoffs is more pressure and players get more fatigue and tired faster and stuff like that. They put the pressure up. So
There's a day off
I
between
actually
every game.
felt like
Coaches tend to shrink the rotation.
Yeah. And you see he's shrinking it now. There's games when
I felt like he was bringing Diwara and before we made these moves, I felt like he was bringing Diwara and Kolick along for filler minutes in the playoffs. Not necessarily because you need them to go in there and create plays and bring a bunch of scoring to I just felt like he was bringing them along. So in those few minutes that Jerrell needed a rest or Deuce needed a rest or somebody was in foul trouble, you had some guys to go in that weren't going to screw it all up.
Right.
And now that we picked
Right.
up the other guys, I feel like now we got 12 guys that we could play that ain't going to go in there and screw it all up. Leon did good.
But
Yeah.
as long as you get these
On
guys getting
paper.
experience now, it's
On
good.
paper.
The more experience they get right now is good for the
Yeah.
playoffs.
And if Sohan is half the defensive player, you know, people are saying he is, I think that's going to be great for Mo to be around. He's going to pick up a lot from him.
Mhm.
And if you're not producing, somebody else gonna play. That's just the bottom line. If you're not producing, somebody else gonna play.
Ain't these such good problems to have?
It
Yeah.
definitely is. I would say to you, Ohead, just because 2 teams did it doesn't mean every team is going to follow suit, because every team doesn't have that, right? And so if the Knicks do and they want to do it, that's fine. But I will tell you this. I've seen Mike Brown shrink this rotation when things get tight.
That 9-game streak.
That 9, yeah. When we went 2-11, I thought we was playing like 6.5. He looked like he was tipped. I had to squint.
Yeah.
You know, we were playing like 7.5 players.
Yeah.
Same haircut, by the way.
Yeah.
Never seen them in the same room at the same time.
Right. But unlike Tibbs, when things loosen up, he will loosen up. It's going to be interesting to see in the playoffs how it goes.
Me personally, I like what's going on. More competition. Guys ain't performing. Sit them on the bench like Clarkson. You're gonna lose your time, bro. You got to perform.
Yeah,
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'm good with it, but he's not. To me, he's so streaky. I think he need those minutes.
Who is
Oh,
that?
Clarkson?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I
man.
think he's might be making a mistake by benching him so much. I felt that way as soon as he got here. Like he was playing 2-3 minutes here and there, and he couldn't get into any kind of rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't optimize everybody. Like,
Right. No, I get that.
yeah. No. To your point, like I wouldn't like the same thing with Yabusele. It's not like Yabusele couldn't play. It's just that, you know, you're trying to put lineups in that optimize certain players and they don't optimize others, you know? So the same thing with Clarkson. From the beginning, I didn't think when Clarkson was getting like 10, 12 minutes, I already knew that he wasn't really a Mike Brown player. Because a guy like that, he's usually a 6th man, 7th man. They're getting 20 plus minutes a game. Once I saw he was under that, I already knew, okay, he not a Mike Brown. Because remember, him and Yabusele was signed before Mike Brown was hired.
Right.
You know, Clarkson can still play, but I think he does do better with consistent minutes, and he's just not going to get that here. And Yabusele is already, playing better. So,
yep,
system matters. How you're featured, the lineups you're in matters. Putting Clarkson in lineups, like if you're really trying to maximize him, there's certain lineups you would not have put him in. You're just not going to put him in those types of lineups. But you can't feature everybody. So how many times have we seen a player go to another team and break out? They had that same skill set when they were on the other team. You just can't feature everybody. You know?
He likes track stars. That's his thing. He likes fast guys, players who hustle down, get into those corners, and get into their spots. That's his thing. He talks about it all the time.
Yeah. I remember Shamet playing over Deuce at times this year. In the beginning, I was like, "What's going on here?" And you're right. There were times before the shoulder injury where I was like, "What's going on here?" Axe Sabonis and DeRozan with it. Yeah. I mean, I think for every coach, you're going to have players that like you and those who don't.
For what it's worth, most of the
Axe
players love
Kaminga about Steve Kerr.
Yeah. Surprised DeRozan's still there. Surprised they didn't trade him.
I thought he was going to get bought out, right?
Bought a trade.
Nobody wants to pick up that salary, Nick Nation.
If he's bought out, wouldn't he be just you could sign him to a minimum?
That's a lot of money to buy out. Remember, buyout
I see what you're saying.
still counts against your salary cap. If he's on a multi-year deal, that's a tough pill to swallow. Even if you are 13 and 85 or whatever they are. With one of those ones against us, by the way.
So we're gonna have to come back and do a part 2 so we can get to OG Bridges. I really want to talk about Mike Brown, right? That was a big move to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, replace the coach. And we've played 55 games, with him, and to really talk about what we've seen so far. So let's see, maybe we can get one in earlier in the week. We'll see. Any last words? Shout out to the chat. No, let me just shout the chat out just a little bit. Parish Doug, B. Willis, Big Daddy Pring. Okay, appreciate you. Dwayne Dennis, Wolverine, 1986. East Blue Drew. Greg was in the house today. It's been a minute, Greg. Appreciate you. Ivory, appreciate you. B. Willis, sis, I appreciate you dropping in. Old Head, a pleasure. Sherman was in the house. I believe Wiz was in the house, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
Yeah.
He was.
He
Walter White.
was doing the business.
He was there earlier. Sadu Berry, I appreciate you. Ribby, RM, appreciate you. Denise, 1982. I'm not going to get to everybody, but I do. JJ was in the house earlier.
You better shout out my twin.
Don't
You
forget
better shout out my twin, Nick. You better shout out my twin.
Don't forget Cat. Don't forget Cat.
Yeah, Cat's main.
David Smith.
Yep.
Don't forget Cat. David Smith, appreciate you. JM 3000. A Train was here. Latoria for joining us.
Man. Great.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Listen, you remind me, you're probably the closest to Stafford we've had. Just a straight shooter. So we definitely appreciate that.
We don't have many
Thank you
better
so much.
compliments, by the way, Latoria B around here. We love Stafford around here, so that's about
I
as
know. I hear y'all
praise
talk
as
about him
Queen
all the
could get.
time.
Yeah.
Awesome. You're not a waffle. You don't waffle like me and AJ over here. We're waffles.
Latoria is the anti-AJ. She gonna pick a side, and that's it. Mike Brown, you got to do better. Period. All right, Randu, I appreciate you. Any first-time listeners? Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you decide to subscribe to the channel. Definitely hit the like button. We're trying to create we try not to create just content, but create community where you guys come in and you're not just listening to the panel, but you're a part of it. We definitely try to highlight your comments. Some of them we talk about as well. Just really trying to create a show where it's the panel and the fans together having a conversation, and we'll get better at it as time goes on. But yeah, thank everybody for joining us. S-Guard, I appreciate you. Ajay, Nick Nation, Latoria, appreciate you. Geoff, you already know we got a break, right? We don't have to do any game recaps until
I don't know what I'm going to do unless I'm twitching in the going through withdrawals.
I think that's all of us waiting for the next Knick game.
Okay,
Yeah, against Detroit.
Yep.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Sohan should be available for that one. Is what I read.
No Stewart or Durant. They suspended.
I think Stu should be back, right? He only got 2. I'm not Stu. Durant should be back. I think he only got 2 games.
Stu got 7 games. What is wrong with that guy, man?
Let me tell you something, Latoya, you always working. You like the hardest working woman in show business.
Yeah, I definitely am always working. October soon come. I'm hanging them up.
Congratulations!
Wow!
Congratulations!
Yes. I'm well. My retirement date is January, but October I shall be finished with work.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. You'll be a bum like me.
Can't wait. Yep, I have every intention on doing just that.
You deserve it.
You know what that means? She's gonna be hanging out with us. So you're gonna be doing the shows regularly with us. That's what that means.
I mean, I'll have the time. I'll definitely have the time.
Okay. Anytime you could use that same link. Anytime you want to hop on.
The one you gave me, the one you sent, the original one didn't work. The one Freezy sent to me didn't work.
Okay. The one that was in the chat.
That one worked.
Yeah, that's the one.
But
you just clicked on it. You didn't save it.
Yeah, I didn't save it.
Okay. All right.
Put your thing in a private
so
chat. Put your thing in a private chat.
I'm gonna just, you know what? I'm gonna just put my number in the chat so you can send it to me, okay?
Okay, but I'm gonna put it in the private. You do that as well, but I'm also put it in the private chat.
Okay.
All right, and then let me copy that number. I got. I'm Apple savvy now, so I can like.
Just like that. It wasn't 2 seconds.
I had this phone for years. I still don't know how to use it.
Snap your fingers. There was a private message. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, do it quickly. She'll forget. Do it quickly.
Right. Look at that. Look at that. All right. Anyway, replay gang, silent listeners, everybody in the chat, the panel, we appreciate you guys. Enjoy All-Star Weekend. Enjoy your break. David Smith, soak your hands. Remember the Palmolive commercials? Like soak your finger pads, so you can be ready after the All-Star break. Until next time, family.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't so.
Where you at?
Don't so.
Where you at?
Don't so.
What?
Don't so.
What?